They have private jets, endless money, and total power. But there is one fear that keeps almost every billionaire awake at night. A fear so dark, they never talk about it. And today, you're going to hear it. People think billionaires live fearless lives. Money removes problems, right? Wrong. Behind the luxury, behind the smiles, behind the success, there is a silent fear that grows stronger the richer they become. This is not motivation. This is not fantasy. This is the psychological truth. The loneliness of power. Power looks beautiful from the outside. Respect, influence, control. Everyone listens when you speak. But what no one tells you is how quiet life becomes at the top. As power grows, honesty disappears. People stop speaking truth and start speaking carefully. Every compliment feels rehearsed. Every smile carries a question. What do they want from me? The higher you rise, the fewer people you can trust. Not because you change, but because the world around you does. Friendship becomes strategic. Love becomes conditional. Even family starts walking on eggshells. Power forces you to wear armor every day. You can't be weak. You can't doubt. You can't fall. So you smile in public and suffer in silence. Late at night, when the noise fades, powerful people ask a dangerous question. Who would stay if I had nothing? Security increases, but peace disappears. You gain control over systems, companies, and people, yet lose control over your own emotions. This is the loneliness of power. Not the absence of people, but the absence of genuine connection. Because at the top, you are surrounded by many, yet understood by none. And sometimes, being alone in a crowd is the heaviest burden of all. The fear of betrayal. Betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes from those closest to you. When power and money increase, trust becomes dangerous. Every handshake carries risk. Every agreement hides a possibility. At the top, betrayal isn't emotional. It's strategic. One signature can destroy a lifetime. One leaked message can collapse an empire. One trusted partner can become your greatest threat. So powerful people learn to smile without believing. They listen without revealing. They trust, but never fully. Loyalty becomes temporary. Friendship becomes fragile. Even silence feels suspicious. They build layers of protection. Lawyers, contracts, surveillance, security. Not because they are cruel, but because they've learned the cost of being open. The fear isn't paranoia, it's experience. Betrayal often arrives dressed as loyalty. It waits patiently. It studies your weaknesses. Then it strikes when you feel safe. That's why powerful people keep exit plans, why they test loyalty, why they share information in pieces. Because once you've been betrayed, you never fully relax again. The hardest part isn't losing money or control. It's realizing that trust, the simplest human bond, has become a liability. This is the fear of betrayal. Living guarded, smiling carefully, and always wondering, who's next? Losing identity. Success changes how the world sees you, but it also changes how you see yourself. At first, achievement feels empowering. Your name carries weight. Your presence commands attention. Then something slowly disappears. You stop being a person and start becoming a symbol. Your value is measured in numbers, influence, and headlines. People don't ask how you feel. They ask how much you're worth. Over time, the line between who you are and what you've built begins to fade. You're no longer allowed to fail, no longer allowed to doubt, no longer allowed to be ordinary. So you perform success even when you're empty. The terrifying question arrives quietly. Who am I without this? Without the title, without the power, without the money. For many powerful people, their identity is stitched to their success. If the empire falls, so do they. That's why loss feels like death, not because of money, but because it erases meaning. They stay busy to avoid silence. They chase more to avoid reflection, because in stillness, the truth appears. They don't know who they are anymore. This is the hidden cost of ambition. You gain the world, but risk losing yourself. And sometimes, finding yourself again is harder than building everything you lost. The paranoia loop. Power was supposed to bring freedom. Instead, it brought fear. The more you gain, the more you protect. The more you protect, the more you suspect. This is how the paranoia loop begins. Every decision feels dangerous. Every delay feels intentional. Every mistake feels planned. Trust shrinks. Control expands. You start watching everything. Messages, meetings, silence. Nothing feels random anymore. Success attracts attention. Not all of it good, so you prepare for threats that may never come. You read between lines that don't exist. You assume betrayal before loyalty. And slowly fear becomes habit. The loop tightens. More money means more risk. More risk demands more control. More control kills peace. Even victories feel temporary. Even calm feels suspicious. You sleep lightly. You relax cautiously. You listen more than you speak. Freedom disappears, replaced by strategy. The worst part, the paranoia feels logical. You tell yourself it's intelligence, not fear. Preparation, not anxiety. Awareness, not distrust. But inside, the mind never rests. The world becomes a chessboard. Everyone becomes a potential move. And the loop never ends. Because the moment you stop guarding, you believe everything will collapse. This is the paranoia loop. Not madness, but fear disguised as control. And once you enter it, peace becomes the greatest risk of all. The final fear, after the money, after the power, after the victories, what fear remains? It arrives in quiet moments, late at night, when the world stops asking for you. The final fear isn't losing wealth. It isn't losing control. It's realizing that none of it mattered to the people you needed most. Power can surround you with crowds and still leave you alone. At the end, there are no boardrooms, no headlines, no applause, only a simple question: who is here? Because they want to be. Many powerful people discover this too late. They chased success so hard, they replaced connection with achievement. They built empires, but forgot to build relationships. They were admired, but not known. The fear isn't death. It's being forgotten while still alive. It's being remembered for wealth, not for warmth. In that moment, money feels small. Titles feel empty. Power feels heavy, because the truth becomes clear. The greatest luxury was never control or status. It was trust. It was love. It was being seen as human. This is the final fear. Dying rich, surrounded by everything, and realizing the one thing that mattered was missing all along, and no amount of power can buy it back. So next time you envy extreme wealth, remember, being rich doesn't mean being safe. Being powerful doesn't mean being peaceful. Sometimes the price of having everything is trusting no one.